Hi, Marianne Croce here from Small Biz Vantage and the creator of the 3 Day Weekend System. And I'm glad to be here each and every week. I do these lives, I call them Auto Shop Success. And I do them each and every week for a couple of reasons. The first reason is for you to be able to shift your perspective, your vantage, if you will, the way you look at your business and really turn that into a competitive edge. I find that most small business owners, most shop owners are so caught up in the day to day that they don't have the time each and every week for the planning, the strategy. And taking 15 minutes a week can really help your business. The second reason I do it is for you to be able to take one action item each and every week and implement it. You'll hear me say this over and over again. The magic is in the doing. When you make consistent changes, right, on a regular basis, we want these to be consistent, not do it once and then forget it. It really does make a great impact in your business. So it causes a ripple effect. Your whole team feels it. So, a question I get commonly asked is, Marianne, who do you work with? And I work with single location auto shop owners who feel like they want to grow their business, but they don't want it to consume them anymore. They want to stop going 24/7. So that's where I come in and I help. So I'm glad that you're here, whether you're live or you're on the replay. Put your comments in, and I will be glad to respond to all of them. So let's get started. This week, the topic is why things don't stick. Right? Ever have something that you wanted to implement or do in your shop, and for some reason, it's just not taking hold, it's just not sticking? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what all the shop owners that I've talked to, every shop owner has experienced. You're addressing something, you explain it, and you feel like it's clear. In your mind, it's crystal clear because you're looking at it from your perspective. And then it shows up again. It shows up as either the same question, the same issue happens all over again, or it's the same situation. And you're wondering why. You're scratching your head, wondering why, because this was clear to you. Why isn't this sticking? So here's the real issue. Most owners think that the problem is people not listening. That's a common one that I hear. Lack of accountability. Oh, that's a big one. I hear that one all the time. Or lack of follow through. But most of the time, I can tell you it's something else. Whatever it was not defined clearly enough to stick. That's usually what happens. And it frustrates owners. I get it, but it frustrates your team as well. They feel it. So clarity wasn't complete in those situations when that happens to you. So I want to explain what not defined really looks like. Something feels clear in your head. Maybe it's something that you've done 100 times or 1,000 times, and you'll say to yourself, I don't understand. They see me doing this way all the time. Why don't they get it? But the business is still missing one of these. Who owns it? And when I mean who, I don't mean Sarah, I don't mean George, I mean the role. Is this something the service advisor owns? Is this something the foreman owns or the manager owns? That's what I mean when I say who, the role. Who decides? So, what role is making those decisions? And what does done right look like? What does done right look like as far as expectations? Give them a definition, a clear definition. So when the situation comes back up, because it will, people don't have enough to move forward confidently. That's the problem. So they escalate and it lands back on the owner. Has this happened to any of you? Again, whether you're here live or you're on the replay, is this something that you can relate to? I know that this is something that had happened in our shop, definitely during the early days, but it also happened during times of growth. So these are things that you have to really be mindful of, no matter what stage of business that you're in. So what we want to do is I want to give you a real example, a shop example. So let's keep it simple. Say there was a pricing decision that had to be made. Parts, cost of parts are going up. It could be a labor rate issue, could be a bunch of different things, but something to do with pricing. It could be something on, the parts costs, or like I said, it could be something to do with labor rate. And you say, handle it like we talked about it. But that sounds clear to you, but what's missing, right? What is actually missing? What do they have the authority to do? Is there a range that they were given that they have to work in? When should they adjust? When do they make those adjustments on the price? And when should they escalate? When does it come back to the owner or go to the manager? Go up the line? What happens? Without that, the safest move when they have any kind of decision that they have to make like that is to go to the owner again. And that's why it doesn't stick. We haven't given them a clear path so they can actually own it, that they could make decisions. They don't have to pass it on for fear of ramification, for fear of judgment, what's going to happen, for fear of making a mistake. So that's why they do that. So here's the shift. Don't just explain, actually define. Define it so it's clear for them. Instead of saying, handle it like the last time, handle it like I explained, try this. You own this. You can decide within this range. And if it goes beyond that, bring it to me. Now, ownership is clear. Decision authority is clear. And escalation is clear. That's what makes things stick. You're actually empowering your team is what you're doing. Now, will there be mistakes? Of course there will be. But as an owner, we've all made mistakes ourselves. We didn't walk in on day one and do everything perfectly, right? We had to learn. So give your team the same patience, the same grace, the same opportunity to be able to do that. We just don't want people making the same mistakes over and over again. So each week I give you an action item, as I promise. So your action item this week is pick one thing that keeps coming back to you. Then define who owns it, who decides, and what good, what done right looks like. That one change will remove more repetition than trying to remind people again. It will, because now it's out of your hands. It's done with. You can check that off as something that you do not have to worry about, that you do not have to do. So if you're noticing the same patterns repeating and you're not sure what's missing, I offer short clarity calls where we look at what's not clearly defined, what keeps routing back to you, and what to define first. There's no pitch involved. This is just perspective. If it's not defined, it defaults back to you. And when it's defined, it starts to stick. And not only Do you feel less frustration? Your team will too. They'll feel empowered. And that is auto shop success. So thank you for being here. If you find this valuable, please share it with another shop owner. This is a giving group. So many people, when I go to speaking events or, trainings, and I meet them, they're like, I really enjoy your lives. So share them. Share them with another shop owner that would that that it would be valuable for. So thanks again for being here, and have an enjoyable week.